Okay. Well, to say that I'm grateful and excited is a massive, massive understatement. This really is one of the most inspired human beings that I've ever had the pleasure to meet. This is Livia Devi, and Livia and I are chatting a blue streak here already, and we just wanted to start recording so that her wisdom and love can be shared with the world. I'll just say here, I wrote this today, Livia. I'm so looking forward to chatting with Livia. We knew each other about 8 years ago in Ireland, and she has conquered the world and blown my mind with her incredible light work and amazing success. I am so proud of this woman. I can't wait to share her wisdom and passion with my community here. Livia Devi.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much thank you. Thank you for these wonderful words. And thank you for inviting me here to having this conversation with you at Awakened Spirits Network. And I'm just so delighted and happy to be here and sharing, my wisdom and my insights with your community and with everyone that is watching this beautiful conversation, and everyone that is here to receive what is available for us to share right here, right now. And it's so beautiful
Beautiful.
that you wrote that on the paper, and you mentioned, yes, we got super excited before starting the recording, just sharing a little bit of how we met, how long has passed, and yeah, I'm just super happy being here and now. And you look amazing. I like, yes, you definitely have changed a lot. And I'm just curious as well, as this conversation goes, to as we are meeting each other in these new versions of ourselves in this new future timeline, how your life has been as well, and tapping into your energy and your frequency as I'm sharing mine. So thank you.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. Boy, a guy 66 years of age loves to hear that he looks great. That's a great thing. Thank you. Bless your heart. Well, I know we're going to get into all of it here. I've taken the introduction here from your website, and I just want to share this paragraph or two with people so they have, some context for where we're going to go, because we're going to dive deep. I have no doubt about it. So from your website, it says a little bit about me. Excuse me. Livia's dedication and service to others are evident in her role as a catalyst for the emergence of embodied New Earth leaders, those who are ready to activate their soul mission, embrace this new era of human evolution, and co-create from the heart. Find in Livia a mentor and a guide. I know that's true. Her mentorship not only equips individuals with knowledge and skills, but also fosters a deep sense of divine purpose and soul connection to the greater cosmic tapestry. And then we'll finish with this. Through her guidance, awakened beings of light remember who they truly are in this lifetime and through all eternity. Oh my God. Unlocking their soul mission and contributing to the expansion and elevation of the collective consciousness of humanity. With Livia's assistance, her clients are empowered to embody their roles as co-creators of a harmonious and enlightened world.
Thank you for sharing this from my
My
website.
pleasure. My pleasure. Could it get any more exciting is all I'm asking. But let me just say, and then I'll definitely give you the floor here, hon. So Livia and I, knew each other about 8 years ago. And I was saying this morning, March 5th is an 8 and 2024 is an 8. So there's a whole lot of 8s going on here today with this interview. And she was going through some big changes in her life, and I was privileged to get to be a part of that. And, she left a deep impression on me. And then I know she left Ireland. And then I'd be looking here at things online, and suddenly I'm seeing this woman who was going through some big challenges. Conquering the world is the only phrase I can come up with, because she was out there in Bali and all Hawaii, all over the planet, teaching people and fully stepping into her power and her mastery as a spiritual leader without any apology, and doing incredible, fearless, life-changing, earth-shaking work. So to say that I'm proud of her and that I know this lady is a massive understatement. One more time. So thank you again for your example, my friend.
Thank you, Lou. And, I loved how you start sharing about, how challenges in our lives or how we cross paths with people in specific moments in time is creating a reference point where we started and where we are. And I feel like part of my work with the Arcturian Council of Light was also embodying and going deep within my subconscious mind and going that deep soul searching and soul work that helped me so much to connect to, I went through dark night of the soul, and I had to go and face all my fears and everything that I have lived in this lifetime and other incarnations in order to become who I am today. And for the people that are listening to us and they are in that stage of healing and in that stage of self-discovery and in that stage of increased awareness, right, or cultivating more awareness is yes, as many others, I've been there and I'm still am. This is a continuous work of evolution and ascension. It's like you need to, like, we all know that these stages are so important for our evolution that we can't get from point A to point like Z without doing the work and without going deep, within the layers of separation consciousness. Because if we want actually to understand what unity consciousness and oneness is, we have to understand and embrace what separation consciousness is. So we have to actually work with duality in order to understand oneness. It's like the two sides of the coin, right? We can't know what unity is if we don't know what separation was.
Right.
And
Right.
I feel like the embodiment, the transformation comes when we actually accept the duality within ourselves and when we transcend and alchemize it into love. And this is where
Beautiful.
our power comes into. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Accepting the duality in ourselves, the light and the dark, the fear and the love, the strong and the weak, and just pouring the love and acceptance all over everything. Yeah. Brilliant.
100%.
Well, you mentioned, okay, thank you. I'm making notes over here. You mentioned the Arcturian beings of light. Can you tell people how you connected with your guides and how that unfolded for you?
Yeah, so I used to work in corporate environment for 15 years when in 2017 I connected with the Arcturian Council of Light, and that was a very unexpected divine intervention, if I can say like that. But let's say unexpected for my human consciousness that was trying to catch up with the divine agreement that I have had at the soul level to actually serve and merge with their consciousness and be a conduit for their frequency and messages and transmissions on this planet. So it was unexpected for my third dimensional mind that was not able to change her life completely and start from zero, start from scratch, a brand new life without a guiding manual, because in the third dimension we are used, like we are given guidelines how to live, how to build our life. But when we shift from the third into the fifth dimension, there is no guiding manual anymore. So when that massive shift happened for me, when I had to completely let go of the old versions of me and co-create with these 7-dimensional civilizations from Arcturus, called the Arcturian Council of Light, I had to completely let go, surrender, dissolve all the identities and everything I thought I am, and start to know myself in this new version of me. And to start, I completely let go of my life, of my previous life. I resigned my job and I walked into the world, sharing these gifts with the Arcturian Council of Light courageously and not knowing how that is going to unfold. You mentioned that I've been in Bali and I lived in Hawaii and I traveled all over the world, bringing this message and doing this quantum work with the Arcturian Council. But, they didn't show me how this is going to unfold. It was a co-creation of pure surrendering and trust into the divine, merge that happened. And I fully trusted this divine plan, and I fully trusted the guidance, and I fully trusted the love that these divine beings had for me, and everything unfolded effortlessly. But the question is, how many people actually are trusting the divine, right? The divine guidance. How many people are actually ready to completely change their lives? How many people are ready to to make this quantum leap and to, leap into the unknown without having, you know, like we without having like
A net.
something, a net, right? Like a net that they can land. Because this is how the divine is wanting for us to, to see how determined and devoted we are. And if we really jump and if we truly take a leap of faith, and they
Yeah.
are placing the net,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. All right. We're getting there now, my friend. We got this going on. This is happening. Two questions. That was gorgeous. Two questions. One is, when I've heard your interviews with other people, I started to get an idea of your life before you and I met each other in Ireland, and that you grew up in Romania, right?
yes, I
And
mhm.
sorry, let me just give you the context, and then I want you to fill it in. You grew up in Romania. You had an amazing. I think you're a genius. I'm just going to tell you that straight up. I think you're the most brilliant human I've ever sat down to chat with. There's certainly one of them, hon. And you educated yourself. You got on the corporate ladder. You climbed to the top of the thing before you knew it. And you were traveling back and forth. I'm sure you knew every step of it. You're traveling back and forth between Silicon Valley, the brain center of the planet over the last 10, 20 years, and your home here in Ireland and Romania and whatnot. So, I mean, you were on fire before the Arcturian Council of Light tapped you on the shoulder and pulled you into a whole new game. Is that fair? We talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, so I had a different life before this new life emerged. I was working in corporate and as an executive. I was working in Ireland and United States. Like I was 6 months in Silicon Valley, 6 months in Ireland. And yes, I was completely plugged into a third dimensional system without even thinking that my life is gonna change. So it was very, very unpredictable and very how to say new for me, this transformation that happened. And we like the divine always has a plan, right? And for me, I didn't thought that that's the plan. I thought that I will just continue being and working in the corporate, that I'm gonna have a husband and a mortgage and a house and 2 kids, and I'm gonna do whatever, like what people are doing in the third dimension. And actually that was my dream. Like I didn't have any other dream other than that. I didn't know that I'm able to dream. Like what other dream I could have had, because in that situation that I was in, I had everything I wanted. So why I wanted to change it, I was definitely operating in the third dimensional value system of power, money, fame, public validation. I had everything. And it's so interesting that when this change happened in 2016, um, whatever they did and how my entire brain was rewired and the experiences that I have had with them, I knew that I can't go back. And that was a big there was a part of my human consciousness that had to dissolve and completely die, and a part of identity that has to die in order for me to merge with this new version of self. And I had to grieve that I have to let go of what I believed that as being real, because the third dimension is very illusionary in what is offering to the world. It's not, it's like an illusionary world of different things that are presented to us that we believe that is all. And when we tap into this deep connection with our soul consciousness and we truly embody who we truly are, there is a new multi-dimensional level like experience that we are opening up to. And then is this wow, like you start to actually see that whatever you have lived is like 0.5% of what is available for you to experience.
Right.
So
0.5. Yes. Bless you. Bless you. Well, Hunt, can you tell us, thank you for all that. I mean, I just want to say, as an American, I know how competitive Silicon Valley is. I know how competitive American corporations are. I can only imagine, the will, the brilliance, and the hard work that it took you, 70, 80 hour weeks, 90, 100 hour weeks, month after month, I remember some of that. I remember you telling me some of that. You know, to get to where you were at in your successful life, high stress, high paying, successful life in Silicon Valley, and to have come from Romania and then be in the center of the biggest game on the planet and be succeeding at the level that you achieved is just extraordinary. You know, I just need people to understand, you know, who we're talking to here and how far you came. You and I would be talking if that was the sum of your success in this lifetime. But then you, as you said, can you talk about how the Arcturians came into your life and how this you experienced this awakening? Because I'm fascinated with that.
Yes. And, it's so interesting you are saying this because indeed, I just want to go a little bit back to the previous thread of thought. I was born in Romania, and actually I was born into a family that was quite poor, like I was born into a lot of poverty and scarcity consciousness, separation consciousness. So, whatever everything that I have done and I built, I had to deconstruct, especially when I awakened and when I started doing this work with the Arcturian Council of Light, a big part of what I have done is deconstructing the slaves and poverty and scarcity consciousness codexes, everything that has been imprinted in the first 7 years of my life by living in Romania. Because it's so interesting. I was a high achiever in the corporate world, and I have achieved everything that I have done through hard work. But was I truly wealthy? Was I truly balanced in my heart and soul? Yes, I had money, but was I truly wealthy? Because there is a difference between being rich and working yourself to death until you get to a 6-7 figure salary. You pay a lot of money in taxes, and you believe that if you contribute to a pension scheme you are going to be okay when you retire, but actually you are not wealthy because you don't have time, your health is compromised, you don't have a good healthy personal life, and so on and so forth. So I was I was not wealthy. I was doing good, let's say in the parameters of the third dimension. I was doing good,
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I was respected. But when I truly realized, when I started to have this beautiful connection with the Arcturian Council of Light and they deconstructed the scarcity codes, I actually realized on how much separation consciousness I was living in the corporate version of me, and
Very important. Yes.
that there. And this is something I want to reiterate because, I go to stages and I speak in the United States, in Miami and New York, to corporate people and entrepreneurs about what's the difference between being rich and being wealthy, and truly inspiring them, to actually step into stepping onto a life of balance and abundance and wealth that is different than how much money you have in your bank account, or working 70, 80, 90, 100 hours a week, because that's not balanced. So totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How it happened, with the connection of the Arcturian Council of Light is that when I was 18 years old, I was actually in Romania, and I had a similar experience that happened to me when I was 33 years old, when I opened to channel and they flew through me and I started to connect with them. They actually tried to connect with me when I was 18. And I remember that I was actually doing my exams to go to the college, to, a very renowned political science university in Romania for the daughters and sons of the politicians. We were only it was like a very exclusive school. And I was studying so hard. And I remember one night when I was 18, I woke up from a dream and I heard millions of people speaking in my head without actually understanding anything. It was like a big noise. And I remember that I went into my parents' bedroom and I woke up my mom, and it's like, Mom, I was screaming at her, wake up, something's wrong is happening with me. And, after that event, after 5 minutes, I start to hear her, and, we went to the general practitioner at that time, and they didn't know what's going on. But I knew that something is coming towards me and I was not ready for it. And I think it was such a divine alignment for me to push back this, because if I was in Romania, 18 years old, I'm 41 right now, I would have probably been locked into a psychiatric institution. by being a trans channel for the Arcturian Council of Light, because people then, they were not awake and they didn't have the awareness and the understanding of what that is. So such a divine alignment that at 33 years old, they knocked at my door again, and then my channel opened in the same way. So, you know, I fainted on the couch. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I woke up to have a call with Armenia, where I was having a construction project there, and I fainted on the couch. And when I wake up, there were again these millions of people speaking in my head without actually understanding anything. It was like noise.
Yes.
And this is when it was, you know, it was the moment where my soul actually said yes to this experience, because from that moment, you know, I had to take off work. Like I couldn't work because I was like literally hearing them in my head. It was a process that lasted for 6 months, and then at the end they streamlined into 4. It was the Arcturian Council of Light, the Sirius Council of Light, my higher self, and my ego that was battling to survive the experience, trying to understand what's going on. So there are like four different voices and frequencies connecting to me. And I didn't know exactly what was going on. Let's say that in that journey, there were some people that, let's call them like earth angels, that they guided me and they explained me. And I feel like you, Lou, you were part of the process. I don't know exactly when we met, but you definitely had been part of my divine plan of the support group of people that had to be placed strategically in my life to actually give me a helping hand when I need it, because I was in such a confusion, right?
Yes. Bless you.
So,
I remember part of this. It sounds familiar to me. Yes, bless your heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, now you're giving me the big picture. I was just there for a chapter, you see.
Yes, exactly. And everyone contributed perfectly. And it was like, you know, it was everyone bring their gifts in understanding, and for me to understand what is truly going on, you know. And that was a powerful moment in my life, because I couldn't say no to what I have already signed up before incarnation. So that was the moment when I start to completely, like, I couldn't go back to all versions of self, you know. I start to develop a connection, a relationship with the Sirius Council and the Arcturian Council of Light. And, you know, I realized that this is the new stage of my life, and I can't go back being, you know, like working in the corporate and signing contracts and negotiating millions of dollars contracts for these IT companies anymore. And I have to completely change my life, because I couldn't combine them anymore, you know, like I couldn't merge. And this was only my case, you know, because many people that are working with me or you know, are awakening, and they have like incredible awakenings as I had, they are confused and they don't know what to do, and they're asking, do I need to completely leave my job and do what you are doing? And the answer is, there is not a one size fits all. Like every divine plan is customized for you, like, you know. So for some people, they are meant to awaken and stay within, you know, third dimensional structures in corporations and continue doing what they are doing, and to merge their soul mission with their job. But for me, it was just completely no. Like it was very specific and a very clear message that I have to. And I was approaching the building where I was supposed to meet my manager, and I just couldn't go into the building. I was feeling like the servers and the wires and the you know, the radio frequency and the electrical field of the cables and everything. It was like, I was like, whoa, I can't even go in, you know, I can't even connect. And it was interesting. It was a very interesting experience. And this is the moment where I had to decide. And this is the moment where many people, you know, like if they have journeys like me, they need to decide, because you can't just be in two worlds in the same time if you are meant to not be, you know. Like it's very specific. For some people, as I said, they are meant to merge with and serve. You know, this is important. You know, the other day I'm having, you know, I'm bridging with communities of entrepreneurs, with the corporate world. Now I'm bridging with spiritual people. I'm bridging with many communities, you know. And I feel like, when it comes to activating the soul mission, everyone needs to do what they are meant to. And everyone, some people, it's like, I don't want to be a light worker, or I don't want to be a healer, or I don't want to be a facilitator, I don't want to be a mentor, I just want to be an architect, a doctor. There are people that are actually coming to me, and it's like, I just want to keep my profession, but I want to understand who I am and why I have this deep passion of, create, like being an architect, or why do I have this deep passion of medical research, and or I'm a physicist, I want to know why I'm deeply passionate about the quantum field. So this doesn't mean that these people have to completely change their life and we all have to become mentors or coaches or counselors.
Right.
It means that we have to understand who we truly are and understand our divine plan and the journey that we are here to take, in co-creation with our soul, in co-creation with the higher councils of light, and what is the best way to serve and support the co-creation of the new earth.
Wow,
Yeah.
brilliant, breathtaking. All I remember, darling, is I just kept saying, trust yourself, that you, to me, were going to get through these challenges, and that you had something special and unique and important and powerful. And I remember you channeling for us back in my room, in the house there. And we did a little workshop together and all that. It was great. And one of the guys there said, "God, she's really good." I'm like, "Yes, she is. Yeah, she knows what she's doing, and bless her heart." So it's just it's just fantastic to put those things together and see them. But you're saying such a beautiful thing right now, Livia, which is that we're there's a lot of caterpillars in the world, and it's butterfly time, and the universe is saying, we need to rise up, we need to be fearless, we need to speak our deepest truth, we need to trust ourselves, we need to surrender our resistance and illusions of separation, all of that. So I know that you are, I'm deeply connected to the Syrians. That I've been working with the Syrians, with Lazarus, for like 37 years, many, 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 many times, many meditations. I also did your 11/11 meditation, which was wonderful. And I just your guides and you and your work is just absolutely cutting edge. To me, it's bringing the power of this world and the power of spirit, and saying, let's work with each other. Let's serve the greater good together. And I loved your definition between wealth versus being rich and all of that. And it's so true. People have, many of us have given our power away to be successful in the world, but are not fulfilled. And so what your great work is doing, the goddess coming through you, my dear friend, and your genius, I'm going to say again, firing on all pistons, and so able to articulate and express yourself so elegantly and eloquently, that just lights everyone up, myself included. And, it just shows us that the sky literally is the limit, that anything is possible. And, just to finish the thought here, when I look at this year, and I look at the mainstream consciousness, and I look at the astrology and things like this, there are many great challenges that we're moving through, and many great challenges ahead. I'm sure I'm not telling you anything you don't know. And my prayer is, I would like to be of great service to people as we go through these incredible changes, which to me are only accelerating right now exponentially. Is that your sense of things?
100%, yes. And I feel like the higher the challenge is, the greater the opportunity for service, right? Because what our challenges teaching us is, people are awakening, and people are start to remove this, blinders and of perception, and they start to actually see what is truly going on this planet, and they start to choose what they want and what they don't want. They exercise their discernment in a very practical way. They exercise their free will and the power of choice. So many people believe that they don't have the power of choice, that everything has they have to follow what they had been taught by society automatically and create a default reality, right? But when we exercise the power of choice, we can change our life in ways that nobody can even envision for you, and not, you didn't even imagine for yourself. You know what I mean? So yes, you know, the next months and years that will come, there will be challenges, and this is how we evolve as a species. You know, the duality is presenting the opportunity for us to actually awaken and embody who we truly are, and truly step and take action and be in our power, you know, with no excuses, delays, procrastination anymore. Because so many people, they want to do that, but they are always finding excuses why to not doing. And you know, the reason between someone that is taking action and someone that is not taking action is that, you know, at least the ones that took action tried, you know, even if they succeeded or not, they tried, they put it ourselves out there, they had that devotion and the determination, you know, and commitment. And I feel like
Beautiful.
this is what this world that is ever changing is teaching us, how to actually step into our power, how to say yes to things that feels good to us and are in alignment with our mind, body, and spirit, and how to say no to things that are not in alignment anymore. And you know, to create very clear boundaries with everyone around and with governments and society and everything, you know, because there is a lot going on, and there'll be a lot that will awaken people up, you know, the way COVID awakened so many millions of people on this planet, you know, when societies and countries evolved so fast into a time span of 1 2 years, they actually evolved, like people awaken. And you know, there are so many people that, you know, there are light workers, but you know, people are believing that, oh, there are so many light workers in the world, maybe I should not exercise my light worker ability because if, you know, there are so many. But actually, it's each and one of you is needed, because you know, you are bringing your unique frequency, your unique flavor, your unique contribution. And there are billions of people on the planet still not awakened. So guess what, when everyone is going to awaken, who is going to support all of this? Like, they will need people like me, like you, like people that are listening to us, you know, to create spaces to be like, to be able for us to serve. But you know, we are awakened for some time, you know, and we are walking this path for so many years. And like, I think there is an innate responsibility that is in each and one of us to actually, you know, move forward to the next level and go to the next level, and you know, expand and evolve and co-create and not be afraid, and you know, receive what is available for us right here, right now. So I feel like the message is like, don't be afraid to stand into your power, and don't be afraid to grow your reach, expand your you know, your capacity to impact people, create a bigger impact on this planet. You know, like, look in your community, in your city, in your country, in the countries around you, like, you know, and a planetary level. Because the more people are doing that, the more, you know, we are creating stream of thoughts in the collective consciousness, and more people are becoming empowered as the transformation is embodied at the individual level. So this is the message. And you know, I feel like it's available for everyone. You know, it's not only available for me, it's available for everyone. Yeah, all
Yes.
this,
Yes.
the next level.
Sure. Sure. Absolutely. And you know, that was brilliant, hon. Thank you. That was gorgeous. You know, you mentioned in one of your posts, hon, that you were in Hawaii. I'm going to segue this to this. And we both know, and many people here know, that something terrible happened in Lahaina on the 8/8. Speaking of another bunch of eights there, August 8th of this year. And can you share a little bit about the message from your guides about how you worked with the energy of what was happening? Because this, you know, I'm learning more, Livia, about ritual and the importance of it and the power of it, as I'm striving to take my power back as a light worker in my life and overcome my fears and my challenges and my wounds and my doubts and my resistance and all of that, my procrastination, all of that. And you know, in this year, I just feel like the door is wide open, like the veil is lifting quickly, and it doesn't take, you know, it doesn't take moving heaven and earth at this point to connect with spirit. So can you work with some of those ideas?
I love it. And it is
Thank you.
indeed, like, this year is such a powerful year of manifestation and instant co-creation. So, you know, it doesn't take so much of the time the way it was taken before years ago, like you had to create all these manifestations, ritual to make it happen. Now your intention, your pure heart-centered intention creates matter. Like the intention transforms energy into matter, which means that your intention creates alignments, opportunities, synchronicities, co-creations, like things that are opening up for you. And I feel like this is such an important message for everyone that is listening to us out here, to understand that intention, as simple as it is such a powerful tool this year. It's really changing things in a minute, you know, but we have to actually stay connected to it and not like, you have to intend from your heart. Instead of doing 10 steps of rituals on how to manifest things, just intend in your power and allow yourself to receive, you know, because intention and receiving, like intention is giving to the universe and co-creation with the law of attraction, and receiving is the capacity of allowing us to receive the reality that we have asked for, and then everything is completely aligned. But you know, this year is such a powerful year of abundance and manifestations and opportunities, because it's the number 8, the master number of abundance. And you know, we are here, many light workers, the doors are open for many people. We just have to have the courage to go, like to walk through these doors and go onto the other side. And indeed, you know, I lived in Maui, and on the 8th of August last year, when the fires happened, I was in Maui. So I actually, you know, in the morning on the Lionsgate portal, the Arcturian Council asked me at 8 o'clock in the morning to open a sacred space of meditation and connection. And this is what I did. And during the day, you know, while I was doing my connections with them, because when I go in meditation, I go straight into the quantum field and I start co-creating with them. And they were upgrading me and downloading information. At some point, they told me that I will witness something on the island that is gonna create a massive change, but I'm not gonna be affected in a way, like I'm gonna be safe at the physical level, like nothing wrong is gonna happen with me. So at 8 o'clock, I closed the field, and when I went outside on the lanai of my house, I was seeing the entire island burning. Like there was like an apocalyptic view, because I was living on Haleakala, you know, mountain at 4,000
Yes.
4,000 feet.
Yes.
So from the top of the
Yes.
mountain, not the top, because the top is 10,000, but I was at 4,000 feet. I was seeing the entire thing burning, you know. And it was terrible because, you know, we witnessed some houses that burned 1 kilometer away from our place, and the fire was coming up the mountain. So me and my husband, we had to decide, it's like what we are gonna do. We went to some neighbors, and they were like, we can't leave, because they were having like fire, like they were having like animals and dogs and stuff, and they said that they don't want to leave, they want to stay with them. But the smoke was coming up the mountain, so I was thinking, wow, like I don't want to go to sleep and die inhaling carbon dioxide from the smoke, you know. Like it was a situation. And there were high winds at that time. There was like very windy, because you know, part of this, whatever happened, it was also a wind, let's put it in that way, that the wind was not terrible in a way, but like I believe whatever happened in Lahaina is not wildfires. Okay, so let's just make that, because that was not a wildfire. Okay, yes, there were winds, but I've seen wildfires. Lahaina was not burned by that. But anyway, 10 o'clock in the evening, me and my husband jumped in our cars, and we decided to actually go down the mountain. And you know, there were electricity lines down, and there was a lot. It was like the entire highway, the entire road was closed, but we somehow managed to escape under the electric lines with our cars, and make ourselves like way towards you know, to the airport and the area where it was safe. But the entire island was burning, and indeed Lahaina burned to a crisp on 8/8, and there were part of Kihei and part of Kula that burned. But it was a tragedy, you know, like it was really something, you know, that is happening. I feel like whatever is happening in Hawaiian Islands is happening for a long time, and now they became even more and more like insistent in taking the land of the Hawaiian people, This is
Sure.
what like there's an entire strategy of like
Yeah.
taking that entire land and taking over the islands.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad you and your husband got out okay. And thanks for sharing that, because that's going to mean a lot to a lot of people. Um, Annie, my friend in San Diego, she and I are very close also with Ali Ray, who I would love to connect you with, the two of you together. She's an incredible teacher who lives on Maui, and she's half white and half Hawaiian. And she's been a huge support to the people there. And she saw all of this unfold as you did firsthand. And, she's been raising money and just doing heroic work, to support the people and try to shelter them and feed them and keep them going and help them to keep their land. So it might be interesting if the two of you connect. I'm sure it would not be dull. Let me put it that way. Yeah, I'm sure it would be very exciting. It feels very powerful. But it's great, of course, to hear when Spirit says, do this and this will happen, and you see that happen, and do this and you'll be safe, and sure you are safe, etc. And Livia, that level of receptivity, of effortless receiving, of a wealthy and successful and exciting life and relationships and all of that, as well as the spiritual wisdom, to bring all of this together. I mean, to me, hon, you're really embodying the new paradigm brilliantly and beautifully. And we human beings, our tastes are simple. We would like to have it all. We would like to be able to do it all. We would like to be free to give and receive love in a beautiful, safe world with people that we love and care about, and living meaningful and exciting lives. And I really believe and know that that is our destiny, and that we're being guided, and accelerated to embody that and to share that with the world. So again, I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing, because it's unique. It's unique, my friend. Yeah, yeah. There aren't a dozen Livias out there that I'm aware of. You are the one that is moving the ball down the field more than anyone else that I'm aware of. Everyone either is on the spiritual side of things or on the wealth consciousness side of things, and you and your guides are bringing it together in a really powerful way. So goodness.
And I feel like it's important to live an inclusive life, right? Because it's so interesting. It's like before being awakened, I was in that corporate world and in that environment of the third dimension, and people have judgments in the third dimension towards spiritual people. Then I moved into the spiritual side of things, like from one extreme to another, and I observed spiritual communities having judgment towards the third dimension and people that are still in and so on. And I was like, I don't belong there, but I don't belong there. Where do I belong? And I feel like I'm a bridge, I'm actually meant to bring everyone together to
Yes.
understand that we can only change this world if we come together. Like we can't do
Yes.
it alone in separation consciousness. We need to work together. We need to learn from each other. We need to understand that there are so many common grounds that we have, and it's the same, and this is fifth dimensional consciousness embodiment, because you are saying how everything can actually flow effortlessly into my life, because I have embodied the fifth dimensional consciousness, and the fifth dimensional consciousness, it doesn't includes everything. So for example, when I see contrast and duality, I'm not judging contrast and duality. I'm looking at duality. I'm saying, oh, this is interesting, how this particular thing is going to teach me now. What do I need to learn from this? Like I'm loving and embracing the duality and fear. I'm not rejecting and judging and compartmentalizing and running away of it, So
Yes.
for us to actually create new earth realities already exist into the quantum field, and many light workers, they go into the quantum and they stay into the quantum. It's like it's time to come back to earth. It's time to walk the grounds of the big cities. It's time to actually speak on stages on beyond the big cities. It's time to go into the density and bring, from the density to alchemize that and actually inspire people all around us that have resources, that have ambitions, that are high achiever. Why not? We need these people into our lives, that we
Sure.
can come together and co-create. And this is what I'm here for. You know, I'm bridging communities, I'm bridging dimensions. And it's so interesting because my journey, when I awakened and I started this journey with the Arcturian Council of Light, I spent around 2 years in the fifth dimension. I was not able to go in the cities. I was not able to operate the way I am. But, you know, the next level of like, you know, there is, in the process of ascension, there is awakening, there is ascension, and the next step of ascension is descension, when our spirit comes in our physical body and completely merge. And in that process, when we truly merge with our spirit, with our higher self, we are able in the physics to actually bridge the density and go and walk in the cities and don't feel the density anymore. Don't like have the sensitivity, but everything is going through you. You are not like affected anymore. You know, you can have conversations with everyone. You can bridge the languages with everyone. You can be in communities. You can be in like, it's incredible. And this is what I believe it's a, you know, multi-dimensional service, when we are not stuck into one dimension, when we can serve the third, the fourth, and the fifth, and so on effortlessly. And we can, I can be here, you know, with you and having a spiritual conversation. And then I can be with a group of entrepreneurs in the corporate world that are not awakened and speaking about motivation and how they can change their life. I can be in so many places. I can transcend the Arcturian Council of Light in LA. Then I can be in Crete. And do you know what I mean? So I can do all of this. And it's not only me that I have a special skill and I was born with it. It's where we are heading as a species. This is where we are heading. You know, I might pioneer in this moment these realities, but, you know, in 5, 10, 50 years from now, you'll be like hundreds, if not millions of people that are going to operate at this level of consciousness as I am embodying right now. And that's the future of humanity. You know, a future that looks bright from my like, no matter what's happening on the planet and what wars and cataclysm and COVIDs and viruses and zombies, whatever they want to do, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because when we like actually embodying the higher frequency, we are unstoppable. Like literally, nothing and nobody can stop us, no matter what scenarios of fear consciousness, separation consciousness they want to create.
Right.
Another thing that I want to say with that is that when we embody the fifth dimensional consciousness and our frequency is always high, no matter where we go, we tap into the realities of flow and abundance and co-creations. But when our frequency is low, then we are only operating where our frequency is able to actually sink in with people around us. So that's important, you know, for us to remember.
Yes. Well, honestly, I mean, that's answered prayer, everything you just said there, especially the zombie reference, you know. You're reading my mind really nicely. I'm having a telepathic conversation with you while you're talking here. I'm going, she's getting everything I'm saying. She's picking it all up. She's doing 3 things at once, you know. She's probably making a schedule while we're talking and all this, you know. Fantastic. Yeah, darling, you're a breath of fresh air, and answered prayer. I say one more time. I mean, what I want to share with you, hon, is I've just been experiencing that recently. On the 20th of December, on the 23rd of December, 2020, when the Saturn-Jupiter gateway opened up, 3 days later, or 2 days later, it's the 21st of December, the solstice. 2 days later, we had a house fire in my old room, and everything I owned was destroyed. And so I wound up leaving that place and moving next door for 3 years and having my own flat for 3 years. And then 2 months ago, I was evicted from there after paying rent for that place and being late for a day. And now I'm in a new place, and I've also been asked to leave here. And so after 2 months, so I've been really working on creating from the inside out and taking my power back and going, okay, man, this has got to shift. This is enough of this craziness. I can't live like this. So I've been doing this. I got this ritual I channeled on Friday night, and I got this ritual. I am love. I am peace. I am joy. Starting in the heart, offering it to the world, transmitting it to a particular situation, and then offering it to spirit for its purpose. And I've been repeating that. And the rent is paid, and the money is flowing, and it all, you know, has come up here for our lovely conversation today, for me to be back in the groove. and feeling like I know which way is up again. So I just wanted to share that with you.
That's beautiful. And it's also, there are multiple elements of what you just shared. Is either, the spirit like wanting you to step into your power and take more action into working with spirit and sharing more with the world. And also that there is like, can be like, also can be the spirit of the land, like if we serve too much into one place and we have so many gifts that we need to share with the world, sometimes the spirit is like, we want you to go walk, explore, and go onto other lands. And I know that might not be convenient for many of us, because like it's always like we are always on the go. But what you just shared is such a beautiful expression of trust, right? Because when you trust and when you are fully believing that you are fully supported and loved by the universe, everything flows effortlessly, right? And then it's like the question is like, why do we create realities of contrast? Like, what do we have to learn from that? And what is the fear that we need to heal within ourselves to not be placed again into that situation? Because spirit is placing us in the same scenarios over and over again until we break through,
Right.
and
I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you, but I absolutely. It's divine timing. I'm saying again, our little chat here today, and it means the world to me, as you do, my friend. Thank you for all of this. It's incredible. Sure. Would your guides want to give us a message before we finish up? Is that a possibility? What do you feel?
Yes, I can actually conscious channel them, because going into a trance channeling mode is a bit more complicated and takes more time.
Sure.
But the message that I would share with you and from them with us all is that 2024 is such an amazing year of opportunity, and opportunity comes to us in alignment. So which means that there are a lot of alignments that are happening for us, and spirit is co-creating with us when we come into this co-creation field. Like, they will never tell us to do this or that, go there and do that. They will never change our lives if we don't want to change our life. They are always waiting for us halfway through. So they are walking towards you as you are walking towards them. And I feel like for the ones that are listening to us today, is to not be afraid to take those first steps in co-creation with spirit. And sometimes, if things are not working for you where you are right now, it's you are meant for bigger things. And maybe you are not dreaming big enough, or maybe you are not receiving big enough, or maybe you are not allowing yourself to believe that there is a bigger and higher reality for yourself. And sometimes when we are playing small, the spirit will do everything to collapse your reality, because you are not meant to be in that reality. You are just meant to go to the next level. And I feel like many of the people that are listening here are ready to go to the next level and are ready to take that leap of faith and those steps in trust and surrender to the spirit co-creation, knowing that spirit will only co-create with you if you exercise your free will. So you have to say yes to a new reality. You have to fully claim a new reality. You have to fully trust in that new reality and completely receive it. And what's important, many people, they want so many things, but they are not able to receive. They believe that they are not worthy, or something is wrong with them, or who am I to receive this? Who am I to do this? I'm too young, I'm too old. All these stories that are playing in our head, that is just not true at all. So working on your capacity to receive, allow yourself to receive the blessings that had been bestowed on you upon birth, because so many people that are light workers and are in service, and that if you had been awakened for many years, you are due to receive so many things. And many of you have to actually open up to receive that abundance, the opportunities, the co-creation, the love, the health, the well-being, everything that is ready. and it's like a line up for you, everything is lined up for you. It's only for you to say, yes, I want to receive. And if you feel like you have a contraction in your body when you say yes, then work onto that contraction to fully receive what's yours. And this year is such an incredible year of gift after gift after gift after gift from spirit and the universe. So allow yourself to collect these gifts, allow yourself to bask into the freedom of receiving. Because when you have the freedom of receiving, you'll have a freedom of giving, and you'll give with purpose, with pleasure, with joy, with happiness. It's such an incredible balance. And I feel like this year is telling us, co-create with the law of law of attraction and the laws of the universe, but especially the law of attraction, embody the law of attraction. And I feel like, Esther and Abraham Hicks, they are doing such a great work since the 70s, 80s, right? And I feel like this year is about embodying that, like not taking step 1, step 2, step 3, step 5 until we get there, but just know that you get there, like you are there and you receive. Open yourself to receive. So thank you
Beautiful.
so much for inviting me for this conversation today. It's always an honor and a privilege to serve in my highest capacity and to reconnect with a beautiful friend from Ireland. So thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. God bless you. And we have the hope that you might drop into Dublin in April. You were saying there's a possibility of that. So you'll keep us posted if I can share that, if that's all right. Yeah, it'd be wonderful to see you again.
Definitely, yes. If that is aligning for April in Dublin, I will definitely let you know. And if not, I will take a look to see when this year I will be able to come back to Ireland for. I definitely feel like I need to have a beautiful offering in Ireland, a workshop or anything that any reason for me to come back.
Great. And I'll get on a plane and go out to the rest of the world now. I finally have a passport after a few years. So I hear you, and I'm so grateful for that beautiful message that you've just shared with me and of all of us. So Livia, thank you. God bless you. And I hope we'll connect again, and total success in your wonderful work, my friend. I love you, and I'm grateful for you in my life. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you so much for everything. And thank you for this beautiful interview. Have an amazing day. And I'm wishing you a blessed 2024. Allow yourself and to receive everything that is here for you to receive. Many blessings.
Thank you, darling. God bless you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Bye for now.